Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me for this acrylic painting tutorial. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to paint a simple barn owl. We're going to keep it really simple, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. I'll show you step by step how to do it from start to finish. I've got my husband, Mark, with me.
Hey there, everybody.
He's man in chat for our live show tonight, so if you've got questions while I'm painting, you can ask them, and I'll try to answer them. Let's get started. Alrighty, so I'm using a little bit larger canvas than I normally do, just so that we can use larger brush strokes. We're going to be kind of doing it very like impressionist style, very loose style. We did one about a month ago, maybe longer, I don't know, in this style. So we're going to kind of try to match it up to this kind of looser style of painting. So that'd be kind of a companion piece for this guy. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I have not done anything to the canvas at all, so it's just a straight pre-gessoed canvas. Haven't put anything extra on it, just came straight out of the wrapper. I'm going to be using a few of the stiffer bristled brushes that I have. So I've got these Aspen from Princeton, the Aspen line. I've got 4, 6, and 8 Filberts. Those will probably be the main brushes that we'll use tonight. But then I've also got just a few other ones for just in case we need, different details. So I've got a 6 angle, a 6 bright, a 4 round, 2 aught round, and a 2 round for the eye details and some of the smaller stuff here. Let's go over colors. So I've got black, burnt umber, burnt sienna, yellow oxide, cadmium yellow medium, cobalt teal, ultramarine blue, Dioxazine purple, and unbleached titanium, and then this is titanium white right here, and this is some glazing medium right there in the corner. That's really all we're going to need. We're just going to be mixing some neutral colors. It's really, this one being a white owl, not a whole lot of color to work with, so we're going to be doing a lot of grays and browns and things with him to give him a little bit of depth. So I'm going to just use this round brush to start with, and we'll go over the drawing as I paint. Mainly the eyes in this one are a little bit lower set. They're smaller because we're seeing more of the face than with the other one. If you wanted to, you could put this on a square canvas or on a canvas, 2 canvases like side by side, and split the face down the middle. I thought that would be kind of fun too. So however you want to do it, you don't have to use the same exact size that I'm using. All right, sorry. Something in my nails there. I'm going to get a little bit of just burnt sienna here and some water, and I've got my number 2 round. I'm going to get a little bit of glazing medium, and we're just going to kind of sketch out the eyes. So the eyes on these guys are going to be right in the middle. Leave about an eye width in between, and then a little bit more than an eye width here. So you've got eye, all the way here. We've got about 1.5 eyes out on the outside. So that's how you can space it. Just kind of leave yourself room. And if it helps to draw a line straight across and a line this way, just to make sure that they're evenly spaced, that can help too. So however you want to do it, make a mark there. We're going to just have this kind of forehead markings in the feather right here anyways, so we can put that there. And just make sure that I'm getting these. So it's a light arch on the top, and then this bottom is very rounded in, and there's just a little tiny bit of a cat eye on either side. So not much of that, obvious outer edges of the eye. It's mostly just this round part. And these guys have black eyes, totally black inside. So that'll be kind of fun. We can play with the shading on the inside of them to kind of bring them out. Okay, so then if you just kind of take a V from the corner of the eye down, that's pretty much where you're going to do the beak. And it curves in a little bit here and here, and it doesn't go, it leaves it about an inch from the bottom of the canvas here. And then these feathers are going to come in over the top of it here and here, and cut off most of the top part of that right there. And honestly, that's all we're going to have to draw except for the rest of this, round the face here. So you're just going to kind of go from this little V right here and round it out. And really I'm doing these in the wrong direction because these feathers are going to kind of come like this. So if you want to sketch it in that direction, you can. It's going to be all the way up and then dips down in between. Just makes kind of a big oval on either section here all the way around the face. That's what makes them so kind of striking. Interesting. Have this little heart shape around their face. Okay, so there we go. There's our drawing, our main drawing for our owl. Not too bad.
Thanks for joining us. That was a great show.
I'm going to grab some yellow oxide, and I'm going to go ahead and put in the beak because that's going to be the farthest, well, there's some feathers underneath here, but I'm going to go ahead and just kind of fill it in. For now, the feathers on top will cover most of this. And we'll put in our yellow. It's a little bit rounded right there. So I think we go like that. Okay, that's good. Let me switch to, let's go ahead and grab this large brush here. This is the 8 Filbert. And we're going to make a gray. So I'm going to grab some brown burnt umber and some of my ultramarine blue. And I'm just going to start, I'm going to go ahead and go around this beak hair that I just did. It's still wet, so it's kind of picking up a little bit of color, but that's fine. I'm just kind of cleaning up that edge a little bit. Oops. And honestly, we're not being super careful about this. This is going to be the kind of painting that you want your brush strokes to kind of show. So go ahead and kind of maybe hold the brush a little bit farther back, be a little bit looser with the way you're holding it, and that will make your brush strokes a little bit looser. You want all these kind of brush stroke details to show. You can even add, if you wanted to, you could even go through beforehand and go through these main areas of feathers with some of the, like a medium of some sort to add texture. If you wanted to, that would be kind of cool. I don't do that a lot because we're painting live, and so you can't wait. You have to wait pretty much 24 hours to let any kind of mediums, thick impasto mediums or things that, I'm talking like gel medium or something like that that's going to make some texture marks. They need 24 hours to dry, and we don't have time for that. All right, so I just added some of the brown and some of this burnt umber mix that we did the outline with. Just grabbed some of that and a little bit of the yellow and mix that in with that gray, just to kind of go in around here. And then let's go ahead and use it in between the forehead here. I'm going to get a little bit more of that burnt umber and ultramarine blue mixture. Use that, and I'm just going to kind of very loosely just do this using the brush here. I have a pretty good amount of paint on my brush as I'm working, that way I can go kind of quickly. If I want the brush strokes to be a little bit thinner, or like, more of a line, I can, like I did here, I can use the edge of the brush and set it down like that instead of using the flat side. When I'm using the flat side, I'm going to get kind of a larger, but it's really nice using the Filbert because it's already got kind of a feather shape almost. So you don't have to work too hard to get that looking the way we want it. Just basically dabbing and brushing and making sure I'm paying attention to the way the feathers fan out around the face. So they basically do kind of this starburst all the way around the eyes, and that includes the middle parts here. So it comes in, and this part in the middle is basically these feathers just all kind of mashing up like that in the middle right here, coming from either side of the forehead. So this is actually where I did right here, straight down. Those are actually more like out this way and out this way. Grabbing some blue, and I'm really not worried too much right now at this point what colors I'm using. I'm just kind of trying to fill in a little bit of dark there just to give me something going on in the background. So let's go ahead and grab a little bit more of that blue. I'm going to use the brown still, but I'm using a little bit more blue than the brown. And I'm going to mix up a pretty good amount of it. And I'm going to use this around the eyes. And so this kind of shows you the sort of the direction that those spikes are going, and they're going to continue, this way. The ones coming towards the nose or the beak, and the nose, I guess, are coming this way. I'm not going to cover that nose up or the beak up quite yet, but I'm going to bring that pretty close to it. So I want to cover most of that up. Basically what we're doing with these undertones, these first layers, is just kind of laying the groundwork for when we put the lighter colors on top. The bird is mostly light colors, so we need kind of these dark colors underneath to give it some depth. If we don't have dark colors underneath, it's just going to look like a bunch of white on top of white, So if you have this dark color underneath, when you put the white through, a little bit of this dark is going to peek through here and there. That's going to really give us some drama and depth. How are you doing, hon? Speaking of drama and depth. No.
Oh, ouch. Very deserved, though. I'm a diva.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're so not. It's like the opposite of.
I made it home just in time.
Yeah, I was a little. I called him. He's in the driveway. Like, where are you?
How much longer are you going to be?
Are you hiding out there?
Yeah. Don't make me come in.
I'm going to get the black here, and I'm just going to go ahead and fill in the eyes. And I'm leaving that brown outline a little bit, just to give it a little bit of detail. There. The more we kind of show our underlayers too, especially with this kind of style, I think it just kind of makes it more interesting because you're kind of seeing the anatomy of the painting a little bit. You're kind of peeling back the layers and letting them show just a little bit. So if we leave a little bit of the, foundational stuff showing, kind of makes it interesting, I think. Okay. Go. Done. No.
That's what I thought.
I know.
It's pretty much
are we done yet?
The rest of it's kind of white, so they can use their imagination.
All right. Speaking of white, we're going to grab our Unbleached Titanium, which is kind of just a brownish, neutral toned white. A neutral gray. No, it's really kind of a yellow tone almost. Yellow brown. White, and I'm going to grab some yellow oxide and a little bit of my burnt umber here. I had a little bit of black there that's kind of mixing with it too. That's fine. I'm just going to make kind of a, I don't know, like a slightly yellow toned brown. And we're going to use that kind of on the inside here. And I'm going over the top of my dark just a little bit, which is fine. And here I'm going to just go ahead and sort of fill in all this middle part here. And just try to leave my brush strokes choppy. And that way, if we leave any of this showing, it's going to kind of look like we, part of the design. So it's going to look like we meant to do it this way.
So it's easy for husbands.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Yeah, really, this one would be a fun date night painting. I think Nathan, actually our son Nathan, was talking about maybe doing it with his girlfriend Maggie, because they want to do a painting together. And I told him about this one. I said, I think this would be a good beginner one. It's pretty easy, just because it's kind of, I don't know, free You know, you don't have to get too fussy about it. It is what it is. It's going to be, you know, very interpretive, very kind of, you know, fun, thick brush strokes and things. So you don't have to get too careful with it, you know.
So is this the same guy that runs the underground painting ring?
Yes. Yes, that's the same Nathan. Yeah.
The first rule of Paint Club.
And a little bit. Oops, I meant to get this one. Burnt umber now with the yellow oxide. Just creating kind of a more reddish. I'm just using different tones, you know, in here underneath. Why not, right? To give it just some different stuff going on. This is not light enough, so I'm just going to get a little bit more. Yeah, there we go. I don't want it too dark down here because this is we just want it dark enough that it'll show the white against it when we put some of our whites on top. So this is going to be good. Get some more of the unbleached titanium here. Some of that. And you can see I'm just kind of trying to go through here and get all these areas where we've got some of that white of the canvas showing through. So just kind of trying to fill in all these little gaps. And if you're really having a hard time with that and it's just not covering, and pick up a little bit of water. I think people forget to get water. The acrylics need water to be able to flow off the brush. So if they're not flowing, you just need a little bit of water to make them kind of not stick to your brush. You know, if they're too thick, they're just going to stick to your brush, and you're just going to have to press harder and harder to try to get it off on a canvas. You're going to end up using a lot more paint than you need to get them off your brush, because you're going to have your brush loaded a lot thicker for that thick paint to come off, and you just end up using more paint than you need to. So just every now and then pick up a little bit of water and you'll be better.
Hey, real quick, which brush is that?
This is the number 8 Filbert, and it's working pretty good. I'm liking it. I'm going to go ahead and grab some of the Cobalt Teal for up here. Do kind of a gray blue up here. Now this upper corner is really kind of off the edge of the head, so I'm going to probably fill in that corner with kind of a background color, because the edge of the head is really just like right in here somewhere. So this upper corner is going to be not owl, because their head is pretty small. They don't have a lot of fluff around their face.
So I quickly looked up, I was trying to figure out why the owl eyes are all black.
Uh-huh.
And so they're, different species have different colors, but
right.
But completely unrelated. I mean, Google says people always also asked, is the owl a sign of death?
Oh, so this is a good one to paint at Halloween then, is what you're saying.
Who's Googling that? Enough for it to be a hit.
Well,
do owls attack humans?
I don't know. You probably were wondering that when you were on your bicycle that one time. When that one.
It scared the bejeebers out of me.
Picture it. Mark's alone.
At night. On my bike, because as everybody knows, before we were married, the only thing I owned was a 10-speed bike.
That's the name.
And I was headed to work because I worked third shift at a grocery store. And we were in Arizona.
Yes.
And I noticed there was an owl hanging or, perched on the power wires. So I slowly coasted up, and it was kind of watching me, and I stopped underneath it because, I'd never got that close to an owl before. And man, it fluffed out its wings and screeched at me, and holy moly.
You wet your pants a little bit?
Maybe. Maybe a little.
You got to work and you were like,
I took off very fast, looked over the back of my shoulder, and it was still sitting on the wire. So, yeah. I think it had fun doing that. I'm sure it tells the same story today.
Once this dude on a bike came up to me, and I scared him so bad. He took off so fast.
I mean, an owl screech. I mean, just like, wow.
It's loud. Uh-huh. Can imagine.
So anyways. But I'm brave.
Oh my goodness. I love it. I love that story. Well, if it wasn't me.
It's still just as funny as it was 33 years ago.
Yes, that is true. All right, so this is kind of what we're going to have for our undertone when you get all that done. I'm going to go ahead and switch to a little bit smaller brush. That will give me a little bit more control for some of the smaller feathers. Using that larger brush just kind of lays down the paint a little bit faster. Now, at this point, if you wanted to, you could have it dried just to make sure that you've got a good dry undercolor. This down here is dry already, so I'm just going to go ahead and work on this and hope that this stuff on the sides dries by the time I get to it. All right. I'm going to get a little bit of black, a little bit of the ultramarine blue, like a dark blue, black here. This is actually a color called Payne's Gray if you have it, so you could pull that out of your toolbox if you've got that color already. This is just it, mixing it ourselves.
I do not have any stuff like that on my toolbox.
No paints. Cool names. I wonder who
No.
this paint was that came up with it. I wonder how you get your name on a paint color like that. Who you have to talk to. I want my own color. Maybe the ultramarine blue and brown that I like to use could be Angela's gray.
Yeah, Angela's favorite gray. Or Angela's dirty shadow blue.
It's got a better ring to it.
It rolls right off the tongue.
All right, so just going through here and adding a little bit darker tone around some of these areas here. I'm still seeing a little bit of the, white poking through, so I'm just kind of making sure that I'm going through here. Now, one way that you can get rid of these little white dots that show up around your areas of your canvas is to wet down your paint. And if you go fluid with your paint, it will get down into those cracks really easily. So keep that in mind when you're doing it. If you're just like going over the same spot over and over again, you're like, this is just not getting down in. I'm still seeing these little white, dots through the canvas. Then just add a little bit of water and it will just soak right in to where you want it to go. Okay, so darkening up right here and just making sure I'm getting all these little white spots covered. Because if we do it now, then we won't have to worry about it when we're going back and doing our upper layers. And that way we can kind of just worry about focusing on the brush strokes, and we won't have these little white spots on our canvas that we're having to try to cover. And I am seeing some of get a little bit of ultramarine blue and burnt umber here. And some white. Going back in here with that blue. That was our original undertone right around this area. Okay. Let's go ahead and use this color in the eye too. So I think I'm going to use it kind of toward the bottom here. Just add a little bit of a color there. Just going to try to brush it out. I don't have a lot of color on here, so just going to give it a little bit of like a round dark gray. Keep it dark. You don't want it too light at this point. Just like a dark, there we go. See that? Now it's got a little bit of a roundness, so when we put our highlights on the top, it'll just round out that whole thing and it'll really make an impact. Okay, like that. It's looking good. It's already kind of looking like an owl, right? You know, you kind of get the feeling that we're going for. So let's get some yellow now. And I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of the burnt sienna to it just to kind of make it a little bit warmer, more of an orangey yellow. And go ahead and put that right in here, kind of in the middle. Already got that kind of yellow oxide yellow in here. Going around the sides. Let's go ahead and get a little bit of the burnt umber. I'm just going to pull it from right here. This paint's wet, so I'm just going to put a little bit on either side right here, kind of where the shadow is. I'm going to wipe my brush clean, mostly clean, you know, still got a little bit of paint on there, but then I'm just going to very lightly just pull that brown down into that wet yellow. So you have to do this pretty quickly. Don't get too fussy with that yellow when you put it on. Just put it on fairly thickly and then lay your brown on fairly thickly in these corners up here where you want it to be brown, and then wipe your brush real quick and just pull down a little bit. It'll do the work for you. Just very lightly pulling down on that brown, and it's going to create a nice shadow along the outsides of my beak there. Okay. And then I'm going to get a little bit of white, and just while this is still wet, I'm just going to kind of dab in a little bit of white right down that middle part right there. Just give it a little bit of highlight. And if your brush strokes show, that's great. It's fine. This is the beauty of this kind of thing. It doesn't have to be a smooth blend. You can have like a little bit of a streakiness to your brush strokes, and it's all good. So don't get too fussy. Just kind of put it on there pretty quickly. That's the main thing. All right. Okay, so now for the fun part, let's just go ahead and start with our whites here. So let's go ahead and mix up kind of a light blue-gray. So I'm going to get a little bit of the Ultramarine Blue. I'm going to go ahead and grab all of the rest of the Ultramarine Blue. I've got like twice as much white as that blue. And I'm going to grab some Unbleached Titanium over here. So I've got kind of more of a yellow, gray, blue. See how that's going to mix there? Really pretty. Maybe get some of this teal color and do it over here with some white. Gonna have a light gray or light green. If we add a little bit of Unbleached Titanium to it, it'll make it kind of a warmer gray, like warmer teal color. So really pretty. Teal green. Okay, I haven't cleaned my brush off in here, but what I'm doing is like when I'm getting ready to mix the new color, I'm just kind of squeegeeing off. So I'm just smushing my brush down and kind of twisting it, and that kind of just offloads whatever big parts of paint are on my brush here. So those will give me some good kind of undertones to work with, and I'll probably grab in some of the yellows too. So we'll go ahead and start with the yellow over here. Get some Unbleached Titanium. Let's go ahead and try a little bit of purple in here with this. The purple is going to make it, ooh, isn't that pretty? It's going to make it kind of a, since purple and yellow are opposite on the color wheel, the purple neutralizes the yellow, vice versa. So it's going to make a really pretty brown that's got just slight purple undertones. Yellowish purple. It's got both of them in there. Oh, yeah, that's a really nice color. Okay, so let's go ahead and use that one in the middle here. And so now I've got this really dark center, and make sure that this is really dark here so that we've got something to play with. And I'm going to use the edge of my brush, and I'm just going to brush it, holding it about halfway. And this is a long brush, so that I've got some leverage here. If you're having trouble controlling it, choke up closer. The closer you are to the end, the more control you'll have. But I think with this, you don't want to get too fussy with it. So I should get a shirt that said, "Don't get too fussy with it." I like it always makes me think of the song. Getting fussy with it? Yeah.
Na. Getting fussy with it.
I know. Exactly.
Almost as good as Will, I think.
I know.
No?
I know. It's just...
Man, I thought I had another career going there for a second.
All right. Getting some white here. And I'm just pulling through. You notice that I never really mix into the color itself, because what happens if we had just mixed that blue into here, then we wouldn't have any of this blue left to use somewhere else. So I always mix in an area I grab the color and I mix in a different area, and that way I have all these colors I can still work with. And I'm not wasting paint, you know. And it's really good practice to just mix a lot of colors. You don't have to have the same exact color. I think that's another thing that beginners get tripped up on, is that they feel like, oh, I have this color and I have to put some more color down here and I've got to match it exactly. And so they just spend all this time trying to match this color exactly, when all you really need to do is just kind of lay a new color over it and lay it in a couple other places, and then it's already, you know, even if it's not exact, it's still going to integrate with whatever it is you're doing as your undertones and things. It doesn't have to match exactly. All right. So their feathers are kind of smaller, like they're kind of thinner. They're not as chunky as the ones down here are kind of chunkier, but the ones around the face are very fine, it looks like to me. So I'm just going in now with some of the lighter color. I grabbed some white. I still had that same color on my brush, so I just kind of mixed up a little bit lighter version of what we just put down, and just kind of laying some of these over the top. And each time that I do this, I'm kind of leaving a little bit of that undertone showing and kind of bringing them together over the top of that black in the middle there. And just until I get down to this part here where they're going to kind of meet in the middle. And if I get too much, say, you know, I don't like that brush stroke right there, I can always go back in with the black and go in the opposite direction and pull back down to kind of push that color back away from the center. So, you know, don't feel like if you, that's one thing that I like. I feel like if you're too careful with this, you know, you won't get the kind of movement that you're going to want. So just kind of go with it, get free with your brush strokes, let them kind of let it rip, you know, just kind of let it go. And pay attention mostly to like the directions that you're doing these brush strokes, but don't get tied up with any one brush stroke in particular. If you go a little crazy in one area or it just doesn't look right, you can always go back and fix it by, you know, going back over it with a darker color or whatever it is that you need to do. So just kind of let it be, kind of enjoy the experience. Don't get too worried about the actual results at this point. I think that will be a much more pleasurable painting experience for you, and I think it'll be a good, you know, good lesson for painting going forward for you, just to kind of let the process happen and don't get too caught up in every little detail. It takes several layers for it to start to look good, so just kind of keep on going, keep on adding more layers. If it doesn't look right, it's probably not done yet. So that's all that means. It doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong. It just means that you're not done yet. And here I kind of got a little too close to my eye. So I'm just going to get a little bit of this darker color and just kind of dab in and pull back in that opposite direction. Grab a little bit of white because I do want this area around the eye to be a little bit lighter than that. So maybe I'll go ahead and mix some white into this black that I have here just before it's dry. Make a darker gray. This was the old, like that Payne's gray, blue and black, I believe. May have had some ultramarine blue in there too. Who knows? Get a little bit darker there, but okay. So we're going to go around the eye. So now I'm going to be a little bit more careful around the eye. Just kind of go a little slower. Pull that gray up. And kind of around the eye, it's sort of, it kind of follows the eye around here, and then right in here somewhere, it's got this white that starts to kind of change the direction of the feathers. So they kind of start to pull towards the middle from right there. So getting that white going around. And I'm just blending this together. So I'm working from the outside in toward the eye. Look how pretty that is already. I love that. It's looking really good. All these different whites. So let's go ahead and do some this way. There's a lot of the darker coloring here, so I'm going to get some of the black to do right there. This one I didn't fill in like I did that side. So I've got my beak pretty much done. So I can just grab some of this white. So I have a little bit of the gray on there, and I've got the white, and I'm just going to pull down. And if you've got a brush that's not making a fine enough point for you, just get one that does. So find another brush. You can use whatever, whatever size works for you. You can use an angle brush, flat brush, whatever, a round brush. You just want to get a brush that is working for you, that's giving you these kind of fine, feathery details right there. That's going over the top of the beak. And then in and around the face a little bit. Now I don't want to do too much right here because I still have to add some feathers down here. So I'm not going to do too much there. Just going to kind of like right in here, all the feathers kind of just stop moving and they're just kind of there. So I'm just going to kind of tap. They're all kind of maybe coming straight at us. So I'm just tapping right there to kind of create a little bit of color, but I don't want it to be going in any one direction. And then going a little bit light around the top of the eye right there. Give him a little bit of the lid. A little bit right there. He's so cute. All right, so getting some of that darker gray for right here. Just going to do the same thing I did with this eye. Kind of start with the darker gray, pull out from that eye. Kind of comes up and around that eyelid right here, and then it starts to change the direction right here. So there's this little white area right in here. And this is probably the hardest part. So I'm just going to take some time right in these areas, right in near the eyes. Because these are all kind of going in different directions pretty quickly. So kind of coming around right here. And then these are just going to come this way and then come down pretty quickly like that. So if you do like go around the eye, just leave a little space right there and then come in and just kind of do your little flick around that area. And I think that that'll be good. And then I'm going to do some right in here because there's kind of a highlighted area right there. And go ahead and leave that a little bit dark right there. That's fine. You can leave a little bit of that. Not everything has to be, fully resolved. Some of it can just, as long as it looks good to you, I would just go ahead and leave it. So get it to where you like it and then stop. Don't overdo. Getting some white. Going up here, adding some of the lighter feathers. There we go. Okay. Isn't he cute? He's cute. Let's get some black here. And I'm just going to add some darker. And this is that gray, so it's not black really. I just picked up a little bit to darken up what I had in my brush. So this is just a darkish, probably mid-tone gray here. Just adding a little bit of the darker streaks in there that I'm seeing. Let's go ahead and grab some of that blue and keep on going around here. Honestly, it doesn't really matter what colors you use. You can get really creative with this. So just as long as it's kind of, honestly, you could use whatever. I've seen owls that wear all kinds of crazy colors. So as long as you get the darks where they're supposed to be and the lights where they're supposed to be, it's good. It's all good. You can really play with the colors all that you want. That's the fun thing about art. Make it your own. As somebody like once, when I was doing a horse painting on here and somebody left a comment, it was like the reference photo wasn't, didn't show the green or whatever that you used in the horse. I'm like, that's the point. It's like we're creating art. We're not like, sometimes I do photo realistic, I'm trying to get exactly what's, what I'm seeing. And then sometimes you just want to have some fun, and That's the nice thing about art. You can make it your own. You don't have to follow any set rules.
I think you should have left the cow blue still.
I know. I did. I kind of chickened out on my cow when I did my cow recently. I got him halfway done, and his undertones were all really bright blues and stuff, and I really liked it. But then, like, I don't know, I just kind of, it was for patrons, so I was like, well, if they wanted a realistic cow, I kind of didn't want to disappoint, so I was mainly thinking about other people rather than what I wanted. If it were up to me, I would have been painted a blue cow, but maybe next time. Maybe if I warn people ahead of time, say we're going to be messing with the colors. So, but I feel like when people are paying me to paint for them, I kind of ought to at least sort of get close to what the reference photo is advertising. All right, adding some purple here. So we're just going to do some purple up here. I'm seeing some purple in the reference photo, so let's go ahead and just do it. Why not? I kind of did some green up here. Just going to use the purple over here too. So I am, one thing I am doing, and hopefully you noticed, but I hadn't mentioned it, is that I'm kind of going back and forth between the two sides. So I'm not just like trying to finish this side and then try to match this side. That'll never happen. So when I use a new color over here, I immediately use it over there too before I'm out of it. And that way they're kind of, sort of matching somewhat at least. That will help. Oh, he's so cute. Can't stand it. Cute. Okay, so let's go ahead and do some nice big brush strokes down here. And you can see I'm letting this brown show through, so I'm not just covering everything up. I'm just kind of letting these brush strokes kind of go over, but each new layer is going to add another little layer of depth, and we're going to see through all these different layers that we used to, all these different colors and things that we used to create this painting. And here I'm just kind of basically pulling off what's left of my brush here. So just kind of offloading all the color off of my brush. Okay. Oh, I really like the purple. That added a lot, and that was pretty, really pretty. Okay, let's go and grab some of this green too. Let's go ahead and use the green with that purple. I think it looks good together. And one other thing, if you are going to be painting along, and I should have mentioned this earlier, but when I mix a color, I don't tell you every single time I pick it up. I'll mix a color. I'll tell you what I'm mixing when I do it, but then maybe 20 minutes later that I'll pick up a little bit of it again, and by then I don't remember what I mixed. So I don't say again what it is because I really honestly don't exactly remember. So just if you're going to be painting along and you want to use the same exact colors, it might help to take a screenshot every now and then and just like circle the color and write down what it was that I mixed. And that way you'll know, when I'm picking it up a half an hour from now, what it was, because I won't remember. And don't leave me a mean comment about it, because I get mean comments about it. It's like, I'm sorry. It's not like I'm doing it to make you mad. I don't remember.
But to be sure, for those who complain, we give them a full refund of their money.
True. Yeah.
We want to make sure we have good customer service here. So
it's a free video.
you don't need to tell them that.
Okay, so dark here, kind of dark around here, and dark up here. That'll kind of make those eyes kind of hooded, give a little bit of shadow, push it back in the face, and then highlight all the way around here, and then we'll highlight a little bit more down here. But really the highlight's going to be kind of in the middle-ish part right here, and then up through here. So that's what we're trying to hit with our highlights. And then I'm wanting to make sure that I have a nice dark color kind of around the eyes here. And I'm just going back in with this dark color. Try not to go over your layers if you like them in the middle there. So, you know, I'm trying not to mess with the parts that I feel like are already pretty good. But just adding a little bit there. Okay, so we're getting pretty close here. Just a couple more layers and we'll be done. So I'm going to spray this down because I don't want these paints to dry on me before I get to use them all. I'm going to get a little bit more of this. I think this was burnt sienna and yellow. I have no idea, honestly. Probably some yellow oxide. But, oh, that was right. I added purple to that. A little bit of purple and yellow oxide. And yeah, so let's get some of this brown over here and add it too. So make kind of a light yellow brown. And this time I'm going to use this brush kind of at an angle and just stack in some brush strokes towards the nose, towards that beak, in that dark area. Really, I should have waited for these feathers, but that's fine. We'll just paint over this again. Paint them in again. Okay, so these kind of come down. Get some of the darker feathers here, a little bit of brown. And then they start to just kind of go straight down here. Set my brush down. See how it just kind of creates those feather shapes, just setting it down and kind of pulling it a little bit. And wherever you set it down, it'll be a little bit thicker than when you lift it. So you set it down and see, you can see that it'll kind of tail off. Okay. Again, trying to use the same colors all the way around here. Let's go ahead and use a little bit of this up toward the top here. Kind of between the purple and the top. Leave a lot of that purple showing through though. I want that purple to really be prominent. Okay. Getting that black now. And some burnt umber. So kind of equal parts there. Let's go ahead and mix it into this lighter gray a little bit. Or just add some white to it or whatever. I've got this yellow in my brush, so it's kind of affecting it too. So I'm now going to start to put back in some of these black feathers because I've kind of taken most of them out. So I'm just going to kind of set my brush down and sort of zigzag, I think. It's going to create those kind of broken feathers there. Skip it around on the canvas. Don't have a ton of paint in my brush here. If I had too much paint, it would just kind of blob on here. I want it to kind of skip around a little bit, so I'm letting it be a little bit lighter. Application of paint. There we go. See how it's doing these like little dabs and dots? That's what I want. I want it to kind of skip around. The stiffer bristle brush really makes this work really well too, because this brush wants to kind of push back into shape. And so every time I kind of wiggle it, it just wants to bounce right back to its original shape. And that's what's kind of causing it to skip around a little bit. And I'm not moving my hand very much at all. In fact, I'm just kind of wiggling it a little bit, leaving that brush. I'm not lifting my brush up from the canvas. I'm just wiggling it. Again, kind of paying attention to the direction that those feathers are seeing in the feathers. Okay, and then down in here, there's some kind of coming down there. Go ahead and do some down this way. There's a little bit of them in between up in here. Okay. Then I'm going to grab that white. And go just above this. And kind of overlap it some. Add some really bright white highlights. I'm going to add some white ones to down in here. Just a few white streaks. I'm not picking up a lot of paint, keeping it. I like this brush, so this is working. And that's one thing I would say, you know, just whatever brush works for you, that's the one, you know, to use. So if this is not working for you, try a different size brush. This is actually, and that worked out really well because I had the black on this side and no, I had the white on that side and the black on the other side. So it was kind of doing a combo color. Kind of had both going at once, so that was kind of cool. Didn't plan that, but it worked out good. Okay, getting that white on the very tip of the brush, just a little bit on the tip of the brush, and then just set my brush down and just kind of flick it. That's really all I'm doing for these brush strokes. Get a little bit on the brush, I'm just pressing down a little bit to load it in there, so it's kind of in, so that all I have to do is kind of set it down and flick it out like this, just setting it down and flicking it. Okay, so now that we've got this down here, I'm going to go back over that area there and bring some of this white and gray down over. Finding to close off this final section here between this section and the face. I'm going to get a little bit of the white and just kind of come from this area and kind of go over these just a little bit. Kind of pull that white in just slightly. Okay, so getting that white, I'm going to go ahead and kind of define that outer border of the feathers. And I think I'm just going to leave that background, kind of that purple color there. And we can just say whatever, you know, it doesn't have to be super well defined there. We'll just let it kind of be similar to the color. And more white here. So the white's the most, you know, obviously the most eye-catching. So we don't want to use it, overdo it. We just want to use it kind of sparingly, strategically here, for the areas that we really want to draw attention to. So highlighting here, and highlighting around the cheeks here, and at the very top of the head. And really the highlights are kind of more at the middle area here. And I'm going to go ahead and bring it up just slightly over that gray. Look at how pretty he is. Okay, then I'm going to get the darker brown black here and then just go over this. Ooh, look how nice and dramatic that is. So this is the same as that white. I want to be a little bit more kind of strategic about this. Doesn't have to be everywhere, just kind of here and there, setting that brush down. This is creating like a nice arrow shape actually for me. Just the way I'm tilting it just slightly, but it's just the way the shape of the brush is doing it. I like it. Bring that up a little bit right there. And it probably needs to come out more actually. Yeah, now that I'm seeing this, I'm going to bring this in a little bit on the sides. I think the shape is a little bit off on this side. It's a little bit more, it comes out to the here and then it kind of angles in. So I'm going to bring it in just a little bit right there. And then just grab my white and bring it down. Change the angle of that a little bit. There we go, that's better. Okay, yeah, like that. Get that dark brown, black here. Okay, so let's finish our eyes, and we'll be just about done here. Let me do one more layer of the white right here. I'm seeing some areas right in here that I want a little bit brighter. Just right in front of the nose there. There we go. What you laughing at? Nothing as you're laughing?
I'll tell you later.
Oh, okay. Not safe for work?
It's not important.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, so let's make sure that we've got kind of a nice little highlight around the top of this dark area here. Let's just give them kind of a little eyebrow almost, something with the white here. Kind of comes up like that. Cute. All right, so let's switch back to this round brush here. I introduced all these other brushes and didn't use one of them, but that's okay. Yeah, that happens. It happens. So I'm going to get this purple, and I'm going to go ahead and find an eyelid here and just define an eyelid. So I'm going to go ahead and do like right here, and I'm just going to kind of lightly and just do it in several brush strokes, barely touching here, just so that I get like a little bit of a indication of some sort of an eyelid right there. Let's do a little bit over the top. The top I'm not as worried about. I just want the bottom of that eyelid to be defined a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to flatten my brush out here. I'm going to get the Ultramarine Blue. I like to use blue when in the reflections of eyes. It just works because it's picking up that sky color. Okay, and then I'm going to use a lot of this glazing medium. I really haven't used much of the glazing medium for this one, so if you don't have it, that's fine. You probably don't need it. For this one, you just add a little bit of water to this instead. Or you can add a little bit of the gray. In fact, I think I'm going to do that to make this blue a little bit darker. Add white and ultramarine blue, and then just a little bit of that gray. Okay, and then I'm going to do like that. Okay, kind of semi curved line there. Same thing here, just okay. Wipe my brush off. I'm just going to push around these edges a little bit, smudge them out a little bit. This one's already kind of fine. I can use a little bit of the black. And I can go back in and make sure that this is nice and dark, kind of in the middle area. Remember, we kind of added that lighter gray, so I think I want to make sure I have a nice dark color, like especially around the upper area, which I probably should have done this before I just put my highlight on, but that's all right. Okay. Oh, he's cute. Okay, and then grab the white, just plain white here, and I'm just going to put like a couple little dabs with the brighter white.
Okay, from now on, we're turning this into a drinking game.
Why?
Every time you say cute.
Oh. I did say cute a lot in this one. He is super cute, though, I have to say. Okay, that's it. That's it. So don't overdo the highlights. Doesn't have to be, it's really not that hard. I think people kind of freak out about highlights, but they're pretty and they don't have to match. So just kind of get them in the same general area and you're good to go. They're slightly curved, so that kind of emphasizes the roundness of the eye. And then this curve on the bottom here also helps with that somewhat. So I think that's it. I don't know. Do you see anything that I missed? Did I miss the feet? If it was including feet, I would have missed those, but it's like my famous for missing feet. I'm going to go ahead and kind of just add a little bit of more highlight to the beak to kind of bring that out a little bit and call that done. So hope you guys enjoyed that. Super easy. Hope you try it. It's really fun. Play with the colors. Do some colorful ones maybe. I don't know. I think it'd be fun to see, what you guys come up with. Got some super chats. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to sign it while you guys are doing that. Yay. Wow, you went hard on the cowbell tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Need some cowbell tonight?
Yeah, because we didn't have any the last show, so I figured
True.
might as well go extra tonight.
All of the material, before he mentions that, all the materials and everything that I used are down in the description. So this pen that I'm signing with, Pigma SV Sakura, Pigma FB Sakura is the brand, is all down in my Amazon shop and Blick and all that. Okay, go, Mark. Go.
Easy for you to say.
I know.
10 times fast.
I know.
So, first of all, you did great.
Thank you.
This was practice show 3, getting ready for
Yay.
2 weeks from
I know. Yeah, I told you it'd be an hour and 5 minutes.
You
I
are
did
awesome. The super chat was from Kristen, and she says, "Thank you, Angela and Mark, for all you do and give to the community." So thank you,
good.
Kristen.
Oh, thank you, Kristen. Super sweet. Appreciate it.
Yes.
We get just as much back. I guarantee it. It's so fun. One schedule change. I know you guys have been looking forward to that red succulent that we were going to be painting on Saturday. I really want to paint it too. We're going to paint it next Tuesday and hope that it's not a super long video. We're going to start with the red background. So it'll be cadmium red medium, I believe. I'll paint on the background to start with. And but we've got family coming unexpectedly for Halloween. So we're going to be at a pumpkin patch on Saturday instead of working. Yeah. So I'll make that change to the schedule. If you want to see all of our upcoming videos, it's down in the click on my name or photo, and it'll take you to my channel homepage, and you can see all the upcoming videos we've got. We're going to have our November schedule out this week, so be looking for that. And if you want to sign up for my newsletter, you can go to my website, which is thankfulart.com, and you can sign up there for my newsletter, which will send you the links to all of the November videos. And also Mark was showing that patreon.com /AngelaFineArt. You can show it again there, to get the traceable for this. And if you're wanting to paint a moose, we're going to do our final moose on Thursday. So there we go. We're almost done with him. He's our $10 level Patreon group. And then our cat is in Spencer's room. The cat painting that we did with the pumpkins. He put it in his room. So we did a black cat for our bonus video. But you can go to Patreon and see what we've been painting there. And I would maybe wait till next week, possibly. We've only got a few more days to the end of the month. Charges you the day you sign up, and then it charges you again every first of the month after that. You can cancel any time in that month and still get the whole month. But if you sign up today, you'll only get 4 more days, whatever it is, until the end of October, and then you'll get charged again on November 1st. So just FYI, I get a lot of people angry for double charges, and I'm like, it tells you when you sign up too. It'll warn you. It'll say, you'll get charged today and then again on the 1st. But I don't think people believe it.
Yeah. So thank you.
I have nothing to do with the charges. That's how Patreon does it. So
at the time of this filming, all the prices are $2, $5, $10,
yes,
so forth. And for the over 3,000 supporters that we have right now.
Y'all are amazing.
And the many people that have signed up for the yearly subscription on there too.
Yeah.
It's been incredible. So thank you.
It has. I've been really encouraged by how many
You're going to
people
make me
have signed
do
up
this for at
the
least another year.
Yeah, I know. They're like
Thanks.
locking you in for this. You're stuck now.
Sometimes I question people's intelligence, but okay.
Oh, they know a good thing. I told my friends the other day, we met for coffee, and I was like, Mark's my secret sauce. I think people show up for him more than me sometimes. Yeah. So, all right. Thanks, guys, for hanging out with us. And we appreciate you so much. And we will see you next Tuesday, our next time back. All right. We'll see you then. Bye.